I'm not sure, something must have gone wrong.
I want to create solutions which help people.
Be this person I want to be in the future, I have to follow this path.
Seeing their lifestyle, the type of lifestyle that I want.
Africa's blank canvas. Paint your dreams.
Welcome to today's episode. Today I'm joined by someone very special. She has done so many things in this period of time. She is a under 40 Africa Community Development category winner, 2018 Mandela Washington Fellow, 2021 Graduate Network Fellow, 23 ZMCO's Network Woman of Impact Gold and Platinum winner, and founder of Ignite Youth Organization. Her name is Tadzie Madzima. How are you doing, Tadzie?
I'm doing well, thanks, Aubrey. How's it going? Thank you so much for inviting me.
It's always a pleasure, especially inviting people who are doing a lot of things, especially helping the community like you're doing. It's really a pleasure having you here today.
Thank you so much.
So let's get into it, Tadzie. I think most people will be wondering, who is Tadzie herself? Because I think some people have a rough idea of what Ignite Youth is. But so before we get into that, can you just give us who is Tadzie and what drives her every day to do what she does?
So I would say that Tadzie is an award-winning life and career coach. I'm a staunch believer in purposeful living, and I'm an advocate for youth-led change. I would also say that I'm someone who believes in advocating for women's rights and advocating for women's recognition in society. So I would say that's what Tadzie is. I'm also a mom to 2 boys, and I'm also a marketing guru. I work for an international organization as their director of marketing.
Thank you, Tadzie. You said something about coaching, life coaching. How did you get into that part of life coaching? I think most people hear life coaching and they're like, oh, what do they know about life that I don't know myself personally? So can you just tell us how you got into life coaching as a whole?
So when it comes to life coaching, it's actually, there are people that become coaches through being taught how to be coaches, and then there are people who just become coaches through experience, life experience itself. And I feel that for me, it was actually just growing up and the different challenges and experiences that I would face and how I would overcome those challenges. I would say one of the main highlights for me has been my own journey, trying to discover my purpose and also trying to find a career path as a young person, growing up in a single parent family, and just some of the challenges that came with that. Also, they taught me certain life lessons, I would say, that I now apply today. So on the life coach component, and even when we talk about purpose, it's mostly because of my own journey, my own experience growing up, and how that influenced my own life and the lessons that I learned along the way.
Thank you for sharing. I think it really brings out the point that some people get into life coaching traditionally, like going to school, getting some mentors. Then there's some people who think that they have experienced something that they feel like other people are experiencing as well. And, since that you have managed to overcome it, you just feel like it's not always the same experience, but just having someone to say that I have made it out also just gives someone a bit of hope to say that it is possible to make out of difficult situations. And during this act of yours, I think that's what led to the creation of Ignite Youth. How did that come upon, Ignite Youth? Where were you? What were you thinking during that time? And you're like, I've got this vision and I want to realize this vision.
So actually with Ignite Youth, what happened is I was always someone who loved working with young people. And so even when I was still young, I used to like to get involved in activities and events that were focused on empowering young people to help them so that they can develop a variety of skills. I used to be involved in the youth group at church, and I was also involved in other initiatives that were aimed at getting young people involved in their communities when I was in high school. So that aspect of me never changed. However, what happened is I was also good at art, and I did not receive like proper career guidance in high school. So what ended up happening is that I actually ended up doing graphic design because I was good at art. And then I started doing graphic design for a number of years. And because I was so good at it, I easily rose up the ladder at work, from just being a graphic designer to being, someone who's in the corporate, was doing so well. I became a creative director and working for a lot of corporate companies, but I wasn't happy. So after a couple of years, I started wondering, but how did I end up like in this career path? I'm not sure. Something must have gone wrong. So I then reached out to my pastor, and then she was like, well, you've always liked working with young people from the time you were still young. Maybe you've lost some part of you that loves working with young people by going ahead and working in the advertising industry. So I started like getting back into a self-discovery process, where I then started asking myself, what are the things that I actually love doing and the things that I'm passionate about? And after asking myself those questions, I discovered that I actually loved giving back to communities, to society, and working with young people. So then I applied for a job in the nonprofit sector, because I felt like if I join the nonprofit sector, I'll be able to give back positively. What then happened is I started working, in the nonprofit sector, and I was working with an organization that was empowering young social entrepreneurs. So it was kind of close, but not really. But anyway, to sort of like cut this long story a bit short, what I can say is that I later on discovered that along the way, in the process of me trying to find which career path to take with my life, I had lost like the things that I actually loved doing, which was working with young people, because the career that I ended up going for was a career based off what I was good at, but not necessarily something that I was passionate about. I started looking at ways in which I could start doing the things that I love doing. I kept working, but I started Ignite. After I had done a lot of self-discovery and also had some conversations with my mentors and my pastors, they were like, you love working with young people, so you need to find your way into working with young people. And because I had mostly focused on youth development even earlier in my high school years and in my teen years, I was like, okay, I need to start something that actually focuses on young people's development. And for me, the whole career aspect was important, because I had experienced how difficult it is for me to discover a clear career path. And so that's where the purpose component came in, because I felt that the career guidance that's being offered at schools right now focuses mostly on helping young people discover a career, but it doesn't matter whether that career is fulfilling or not. The purpose component is where we are helping young people to choose careers that are fulfilling. Because based off my own personal experience, I discovered that, working in the advertising industry was not as fulfilling as I would have wanted it to be. And so the idea with putting the purpose component into career choice and choosing a career is to help young people to actually choose careers that they feel will fulfill them emotionally, mentally. And so that's how Ignite was started. So Ignite was started from that experience of me trying to discover my own way when it comes to my career path. And then eventually actually discovering that the things that I love doing were things that I used to love doing when I was still in high school. But unfortunately, because I didn't have career guidance, I wasn't able to get the support I needed for me to make the right career choice.
Lovely. I like what you said, especially when you're talking about you've done it pretty much all, sort of like, you're the creative director, and every day you're waking up, you're not feeling happy, you're not feeling fulfilled, and you don't feel, the drive to do something. You like talking to your mentors that like you enjoy working with young people. Why don't you dive back into that industry and just start helping young people? And the moment you started doing that, like you said, you felt, the energy come back, the purpose started coming back, and you began to see your old self coming back. And I want you to go a bit more deep into the winter and the balancing, especially like Ignite Youth has started. Now you want to grow it, but you're also constantly working. So how was it like growing Ignite Youth, building the team, getting it out there to the world so more and more young people join?
So I feel that it was not very complicated to grow the organization to where it is today. The reason why it was not so complicated is because career guidance services are very scarce in many places. Career guidance services are scarce in high schools. So when we started Ignite Youth Organization, we didn't really know whether our model would work until we started testing it out in high schools. And then we realized that there were actually a lot of young people who didn't have access to career guidance services. And then eventually, we then received a lot of feedback from young people saying that they actually were very happy with the services that we were providing them because they were not getting those services at school. We then started scaling the work and partnering with other organizations, and that's how we grew.
Okay, so it wasn't really that difficult. Of course, there was some difficulty along the way, but you said due to the lack of, career guidance, especially in schools, because I do know that maybe public schools may not have a robust career guidance compared to like the private schools. So having the people coming back and giving you like feedback, like, thank you for changing our lives and, helping us figure out what we want to do, it really helped you grow. And I think it also like fueled that energy for you guys to continue saying, okay, we got something on our hands that's actually helping people. And I want to applaud you for that, because it takes a lot of, courage to dive into something like this, especially starting an organization, when you're by yourself, then slowly building up and, having the connections. And I want to ask you a question, which is very direct. They were like, how do you approach problem solving, especially you running this organization, especially you also got a job on the side? You guys host a lot of events. I've seen it on your pages there. You're always hosting events. So how do you approach problem solving? Like, okay, when problems arise in the organization or something happens, how do you approach that and solve those problems?
What we do is we love to have the young people involved in this problem solving component of the work that we do. So what we've done is we have the young people part and parcel of the creative and innovation process of coming up with solutions. So whenever there's a challenge, for example, if you look at our team, it's made up mostly of young people in that team. Not only do we have the young people who are part of our secretariat or office team, but we also have young people sitting in very important leadership roles. They're leading in programs that we run. So what I do believe is that the biggest component or benefit to we do when it comes to coming up with solutions to our problems is we get the young people involved in the solution creation process. We allow them to contribute their ideas and to be part of the solutions. But at the same time, we also make sure that they not only are they involved in that process, but they also see that their ideas are being implemented. So it's not just about having the young people out there. It's also about making sure that they're involved in the process and included in the process, and that they actually see that their ideas are included in the process of solving those problems.
I like the fact that you guys incorporate the youth of the organization to be part of solution building and being in positions of leadership. My next question will be following is like, do you think people are born leaders or they grow into become leaders?
So what I believe is that people can be, I think that there are those that are naturally born to be leaders, but then there are also those that not necessarily that they were born to be leaders, but they develop leadership skills. So I do believe that leadership, as much as there are some people that are just naturally born leaders, they lead naturally. They don't actually need to be trained to be leaders. But then there are those people who actually might not have been born leaders naturally, but they learn leadership skills and then they actually become good leaders. So I think both of those statements are possible.
Thank you for sharing, because I feel like some people get dismayed a lot and just think that most leaders are just born as a leader. And if you're not born as a leader, you can never be a leader. But you giving that perspective, like you may not be born with maybe usually the skill sets, like you're not very confident on public speaking and all that, but with time and practice and effort, you can become the leader that you never thought you would be. So as we go in your life and we continue to grow, then the recognition started to appear in your life, you know, getting awards, being invited by a fellowship. How did that, you know, make you feel as a person? Did it help you feel solidify that confidence that yes, I'm building something that's actually helping people? Did it help you to push for higher limits? Because I expect getting same CEOs, network women, impact gold and platinum winner. That usually fuels people to like there's more I can achieve. What was the feelings we're going through as we are now getting all these accolades as they began to came?
Okay, so as I was now getting those accolades, it was definitely very encouraging for me, because for me it was like, wow, this is actually working, and that people actually believe in the work that I am doing. So I think initially the awards didn't start off the first year, the second year. It took some time before I started getting awards. But when they started coming through, it was testament to the fact that I was on the right path, and that taking the risk that I had taken to focus on Ignite was actually a good idea. As I mentioned to you earlier, it took me time to get Ignite to where it is now. As much as I am very happy with the amount of awards and everything that I've been recognized for, I most certainly wouldn't have been able to do it without the support of the team. Because I mentioned to you earlier that I also work for a nonprofit organization as their director of marketing. And obviously juggling that and also being a mom and everything takes up a lot of my time. So my attention is is quite thin, and because of that, the success and the awards and everything that Ignite Youth wins, and the ones that I'm also recognized for, it's not just my hard work, it's the work of many of the people behind the scenes who keep the organization going and who keep it running on a daily basis, and who are constantly putting in their effort and their time into the administrative, daily, operational related tasks that are involved with running the organization on a day-to-day basis. And those people are the ones that really have made it possible for me to be recognized for the work that we do at Ignite. So as much as I take pride in the fact that, the idea was mine, I don't take pride in the success of the story on my own, because I know that it's a story that is successful because there are a lot of other people that have been involved in making it a success.
We have to love the humility, you know. It's a well-oiled machine. It's not only one part which is doing one thing. Everyone is doing something in the organization. As you mentioned, being a mom, working at the nonprofit, also working your own job, and being the founder takes a lot of time from you. So you cannot always give, the organization your full time, but knowing that you have people in place that even if you're not there, the organization continues to thrive is something that most people are always looking for when they try and build something like this in their own thing. One of the questions I got when I ask people what question should I ask you, they want to know what drives you, As you mentioned, you're a mom with two boys, you're working for a nonprofit, you're the founder, you're doing all these things you're doing. People want to know like what drives you, I feel like people think you get at a point you're gonna get overwhelmed, but what makes you be like, okay, we'll figure it out. What drives you and gets you up going every morning to do it?
I think for me, what drives me is just the fact that I'm someone who is I'm driven by the desire to make a change. And also what drives me is the need. Just seeing the needs that I see in our society, the things that I see happening, not just in our society, but in young people's lives. That is what drives me. Like I want to see young people succeed. I want to see young people doing well. I want to see them thriving in society. So it's extremely important for me to be able to support young people. But I also think that purpose is what drives me. Because what I do believe is that once you're clear on your purpose, you become driven. And once you become driven by your purpose, anything is possible at that point. So I believe that, like, for me, what actually drives me is purpose. Like knowing that this is what I'm supposed to do on this earth whilst I'm still here. And I also believe that it's important for each person to have their own definition of success, because the world will tell you what success looks like. People will tell you what success looks like. Social media will tell you what success looks like. So if you're not careful, your success will be determined by what people are saying and what's happening and what will be happening like around you in terms of social media and things like that. And so at that point, you can lose your fight for life. You can lose your interest in life because you're busy comparing yourself to other people and things like that. So I do believe that I have my own definition of success, and that's what actually informs and drives me. And at the same time, I am driven by my own purpose. So as long as I know that this is the direction I'm going in life, I just leave that to fate to decide what happens. And so I think I don't try to control the outcome too much as long as I know that I'm walking down the path of my purpose.
Find your own success. I think that is something people tend to forget, that the world will show you what success means. Social media will show you what success means. Your parents will show you what success means, and if you don't define your own, you end up just chasing something that is not worth it. You're always being like, oh, I think being successful is having $1 billion, a yacht, house on the beach, but maybe that's not you in person. Maybe success for you just being there with the family, or you traveling the world, or you just helping the community. So defining your success is very critical, and just having that purpose that says, I know where I'm going. And I think that's very important, just having that goalpost to aim for, like, this is where I'm going. It's truly impactful, and we can see the wisdom coming from you, and it's very amazing. I know a lot of people who are listening will be learning a lot. Another question people were also asking is that how can they join, Ignite Youth? What can they gain from joining Ignite Youth? Also, they might want to know that, because I think some people have heard about it and they might want to join, but they're like, okay, if I join, what do I do when I'm there? What do I get to do when I'm in there? So can you please just elaborate that so some people, how they can join, and how they can what do they gain from being part of Ignite Youth?
So what we offer at Ignite is two main services. So the first service is that we offer our purpose curriculum, which is our first offering. It's our purpose-centered career guidance curriculum, which focuses on how you can pursue a career path that's purpose-driven and purpose-focused. The second service that we offer, or the offering, is youth development programs, and those are like holistic youth development programs, because it's not enough for someone to say that they're going to discover their purpose. We have to make sure that they've developed the right skills, honed the right qualities, and so forth, that permit and allow them to be able to thrive in their purpose. So things like mental health counseling, things like soft and hard skills, essential skills. Those are sort of things that we have to train young people in, because we can't just tell them to dream big and not equip them with the skills that they will need in order for them to be successful. So yes, we are encouraging them to pursue their purpose and to dream big, but at the same time, it's grounded in actionable steps where they actually know that they have to take which steps do they need to take in order for them to be successful. So that's what we offer at Ignite. Young people pay a once-off subscription fee of $10. After that, you don't pay for anything related to subscriptions or membership fees. Most of our events are free for young people, and we try our best to subsidize the costs for them. And where it's necessary for them to pay, as I mentioned, we always make sure that we make it as affordable as possible for them. And many young people who want to join our programs, what they then do is go to our website. They can read more about our work. They can also go onto our social media pages, and they can also contact us on info@igniteyouth.co.zw if they want to find out more about the organization and they are curious about what we offer. They can do that. And they can also contact us on our office number, which is 0777 940 976. if they want to ask us any questions about how to become a member.
Thank you for sharing all that. I think people have now got the picture and the bigger picture of what Ignite Youth offers and how we can help them grow and get taught some skills that help them define their purpose and, give back to the community. One of our last questions is, you said you're an advocate for women's rights, and I know a lot of girls and young women out there always feel that thing of not being well represented in certain positions, and every time they reach a certain milestone, they feel like things that might not be going their way. They might feel like they might get, looked down upon because they're women. What do you say to all those girls and young women out there?
I do believe that for me, my hope is to see many young people going for, especially girls going for their dreams and not giving up on creating the life that they deserve. I know that for many young people, especially girls, there's a lot of expectation in our society that girls should get married at a certain age, and that there's just a lot of expectations on girls, and some of them are not even related to career. But what I do try to encourage girls to do is to be able to empower themselves, because financial independence for a woman means independence in a lot of other areas, right? She becomes emancipated in the way she thinks, and she's also capable of supporting her family. She's also become someone who can also contribute to the development of her own country. And so there are a lot of benefits that come when when they are also capable of generating an income and becoming self-sustainable. So what I do always encourage women is to look at their role and not look at themselves to be defined just by tasks that are domestic related, but also look at themselves as people that can also contribute to the development of their nation and even contribute to their families' progress financially. So I always try to help young girls to think about themselves in that spectrum, because it also helps to avoid other challenges that come in society when women are not financially independent. Things like teenage pregnancies become less because girls know that they can work and they can earn their own income. All of those issues that we face in society that are related maybe to girls falling pregnant at a young age or acquiring various STIs or STDs at a young age in the hopes of trying to earn money from someone who is in a financially good place. Those kind of societal problems are reduced when girls begin to believe that they can earn an income, and when they start actually making efforts towards that. So my focus with young girls is really career driven, because the organization focuses on careers. And my focus is to help them to emancipate and see themselves as people who are capable of being able to earn an income, to get jobs that pay them well, or to run their own businesses, organizations. And it's also not just to help to alleviate some of the challenges I mentioned earlier, but it is to also make sure that we are harnessing the potential that young women bring to society, and we're not letting go of the invaluable contributions that they make to society. So for me, it's just looking at women in that way of looking at how we can help them to realize their full potential, so that they are able to play the role that they're supposed to play in society to their fullest capacity.
Thank you for those wise words. I think you've inspired and motivated a lot of young women and women out there just to go out there, because there's so many benefits that you mentioned from just being financially independent. It changes the way you think and the way you look at how life operates. And that is truly admirable for you. Our last question today is pretty much simple. It's just like, someone's out there trying to start giving back to the community. What advice can you give them on a way to approach that? How do you start giving back to the community?
You join an initiative or an organization that's doing something that you love doing or that you have an interest in. And then you contribute, you join, you volunteer. Usually I encourage young people to join organizations as volunteers. That's a good starting point, because that's where you meet other young people who've got similar interests as yours, and that's how you start giving back to society. So I encourage many young people to get involved in organizations, not just like Ignite, but it doesn't have to be Ignite Youth organization, but it can be any organization within their area of interest, passion, and they can then start contributing by becoming volunteers, and that's how they easily start getting involved. And if they do their research even on Facebook or even online, they'll be able to see which organizations in the country are running various initiatives that are aligned to their interests. So once they do that, then it's not hard for them to then make sure that they are contributing. And there are many doors that come from doing volunteer work. A lot of opportunities. You can get a job, you can get an internship, you can get an attachment, you can get a reference letter. So there's a lot of opportunities that are available in just volunteering in other organizations.
Thank you once again, Tadzie, for taking your time out of your busy schedule to have this conversation with us. I'm sure we have learned a lot. We've seen the vision that you're trying to accomplish. You have inspired and motivated me personally, and I know when people are listening, they also be motivated and inspired to do something, that drives them towards their purpose, that helps them define what success means to them in their own eyes. Once again, Tadzie, thank you for taking the pleasure. If people want to reach out to you, what platforms can they find you? Can you just give yourself a shout out so people know where to find you and connect?
So people can take a look at not my personal page, actually, my official professional pages. So the first page is the Instagram one. If they search for Tadzie Madzima official on Instagram, they'll find me and they can follow me on that. They can also follow me on Tadzie Madzima on Twitter. On Facebook, if they search for Pursuing Purpose with Tadzie, they'll find me on that page. And on LinkedIn, if they just look for Miss T, they'll find me on that. Or just look for Tadzie Madzima, they'll find me. So I just encourage people, I think the easiest thing that they can do is just search Tadzie Madzima on all those platforms. My name will come up and they'll be able to follow me on those pages. And I usually respond to all of my messages are usually responded to. So if they want to reach out to me on that platform, they can. They can also message me directly on my number. They can message me on 0734 542026, where they can then contact me if they need any support. They can call me. Calls are better for me because I'm very slow with responding to WhatsApp because I get so many messages. So if it's something that's really urgent, I encourage them to call.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. Make sure to subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Africa's Blank Canvas Podcast, so you're always up to date with the latest news. Don't forget to share. That's the only way we grow.